So this is one of my off the cuff ramblings. I just saw the first four episodes of the Sandman. I read the comic books. Well, I did not read all of them, but I read most of the comic book line. Probably the late '90s. um, I've read enough to know I don't like this series on Netflix. Now, I'll be honest, it was a very good was it really a good attempt or not? Um, so a little bit about the comics. It was a very groundbreaking comic book when it came out on so many levels. I called it even back then, I called it the thinking man's comic book because this was a comic book that, you had to read classical literature to really get a good understanding of what was going on in it, or at least to know who the characters were. This was before the internet. um, so the series begins, um, and again, I only watched four episodes. I know I'm done with it. Um, I was not too concerned. I got concerned when they sex change Constantine. It was just absolutely needless. Oh, sex change and made her a lesbian. Now, that's fine, but why? 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 You know, a lot of I do understand, and I don't know exactly. There's like 10 episodes in this season. Obviously, there's going to be another season. So, how many seasons are they going to need to finish off um, the run, if comic book run, if they are going to do that? They may just go off, kind of like Game of Thrones. They kind of went by the books and then they didn't. So it's kind of hard to judge by that. But my whole opinion, my whole reason for watching it was squashed in the fourth episode. So, spoiler alerts. Um, in the comic book, well, and in the series, in the TV show, um, Dream has to go into hell to retrieve his mask. He knows somebody, one of the demons has it. He just doesn't know who it is. So where this really diverges, where this really fails, n- and there were failures before the scene, don't you get me wrong, but and again, I get it. You're compressing it all down. You're trying to push it out into the video because there's only so much you can show. But when you are watering down a scene to for well okay, so in the comic book he retrieves his mask and there is a conflict, and it's similar to the series, but he finally gets the mask. But Lucifer, who basically says, you're not going anywhere, you're surrounded. And he's surrounded by demons. He's out there in the arena surrounded by them. And he says something to the effect, if you don't let me out, none of you will ever dream of heaven again. And, not one word bubble, no sounds, just the crowd parting. Very dramatic. In fact, I hadn't read the damn thing about 20 years, and I remember that so well. It's such a scene. It's a pivotal scene in the whole fucking comic book. And they kind of just skirt around it. In the TV show, it's just him and Lucifer and about the demon that has the mask, and Matthew the crow. Those are the only ones witnessing the whole thing. And he tells Lucifer basically the same thing he tells him in the comic book, and Lucifer lets him go. Now, you go, "Well, Brian, you're kinda splitting some hairs." No, I'm not. The whole purpose of that scene, as it was originally written, was all of hell got the message. All of hell. And I I think one of the reasons they didn't do that was to cut cut costs. You only have a few actors and that's it. If you had all the demons, you had to have had so many extras. But when you cut corners and you're still a big budget thing, you're cutting corners. It's a pivotal scene. You know, the way it is in the TV show, oh, it's just him and the devil. They got understanding. But in the original, he's telling all of hell that I'm going to make certain you never dream of heaven again. And and again, the first 3 episodes, it literally as episode went to episode, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I said, "That's it. The 4th one, I'm done." And I wasn't I was enjoying it. I'm enjoying it to some point because it looks so much like the book. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It has everything about it except that oomph. They just took it out, you know? Constantine's a lesbian? What the fuck's that about? You know, I do believe, and I'm trying to remember, were there lesbians in the there is. I'm certain they've had take them out though. So I am very disappointed in it, very disappointed. And I think, a lot of times you get this with translations to film. People go, "Oh, the book was just so amazing," and then the films just fall short. Well, and I get that to some extent with special effects and the special effects. Very hit, very miss. Hit, miss, hit, miss. I the first episode, I smell like a BBC show. I don't know if it's from I don't know who does it, if the BBC does it or it's definitely English. It just smells of it, and, I don't know. So it's really disappointing. I don't know, y'all can watch it, you know, feel free to watch it, but I'm telling you, they're really missing some really important parts. And let's go back to the sex and gender and race swaps. Um, Lucian is swapped to be a black female. Eh, honestly, I could deal with that. I had no problem with that. I had no problem with Death, even though I did not see the episode. Death is a black female. Okay, I think that was excellent, but she looks alive. I'm sorry, Death is bone white and much more punk. This gal, she looks kind of very modern. I don't know. I just, think John Constantine is a lesbian. What you're just missing the mark so badly. You're making changes that do not need to be changed or don't make sense to be changed. I mean, people know the character of John Constantine. He showed up in Lucifer. He showed up in the comic cartoons they've had for DC. Why now suddenly are you, you know, sex swapping or gender swapping for no reason whatsoever? I guess is it so bad now that you can have a scene of all men? Yeah, that's what it is, and it's just yeah. So unfortunately, Netflix's Sandman is I don't want to say a failure, but it falls far, far short of the original.